We start with breaking news in the NFL. Hours after backing out of the Max Crosby trade, the Ravens pivoted to free agent defensive end Trey Hendrickson. Adam Schefter reporting that the All-Pro gets a 4-year, $112 million deal, $60 million guaranteed. Here's Ravens GM Eric DeCosta this afternoon. Listen to this.
We came to a point probably after we lost Tyler, where as we're trying to find the best way for us to get better as a football team, Trey kind of made a lot of sense as a possible guy to look at. So we started some discussions with he and his agent, thinking that, potentially we'd have 2 pass rushers on the defensive line on both sides of the line. Again, I think it was disappointing, to us, and probably in a way, potentially disappointing probably to Trey as well.
DeCosta making a reference to Tyler Linderbaum, who signed a big contract, leaving the Ravens to the Raiders. Senior NFL insider Adam Schefter joining us now. Schefter, the last 24 hours, they've been quite a blur in Baltimore. Walk us through the Ravens signing Hendrickson and then backing out of that Max Crosby trade with the Raiders.
Well, Kevin, it's the reverse order, actually, because what happened here was Max Crosby and his wife showed up in Baltimore for what they thought would be a medical and a coronation and a celebration dinner on Tuesday night in Baltimore. And instead, doctors expressed concerns about the physical that he took. Other doctors reviewed the results. We don't know exactly what was in there, but there was enough cause of concern that the Ravens backed out of the deal, in the words of the Raiders, and decided to send Max Crosby back to Las Vegas. And instead, at that point in time, once they felt like they couldn't move forward due to the condition of his knee that underwent surgery 8 weeks ago, he spent the last 7 weeks on crutches, they pivoted to Trey Hendrickson. Now, you heard Eric DeCosta talk about their grand plan of pairing both defensive ends together, Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson. And Trey Hendrickson was disappointed about the fact that that did not become a reality, that in the end, ultimately, Crosby goes back to the Raiders and Hendrickson reaches agreement on a 4-year deal worth up to $120 million in Baltimore to now provide the type of pass rush the Ravens thought they would be getting from Max Crosby when they agreed to a trade for him on Friday night.
All right, so now the Raiders, they lose out on 2 first-round picks from the Ravens, and Crosby now goes back to Vegas. What's next for the defensive end here, coming off that knee injury?
I think the Raiders are right back where they thought they would be, where they would be open to trading Max Crosby. They've taken calls from other teams, but they would have to get an offer they couldn't refuse. And you have to ask yourself, what team is going to give an offer that the Raiders can't refuse for a player right now who just didn't pass a physical, who essentially is 2 months removed from surgery, who is not going to be fully healthy until opening day of 2026, and who's coming off surgery to his meniscus, bone, and cartilage area. So there are questions. Now, his doctor, Neil Elatrosh, says that Max Crosby is right on track, right where he needs to be, but he may not be able to go through the type of physical to make a team want to trade for him for another couple months. There's a lot that's up in the air, a lot that still will play out here, and it's certainly possible that he could be back playing for the Raiders again this season.
Okay, and Schefter, you got more breaking news in the NFL, stuff that you're reporting, that the Colts and quarterback Daniel Jones have agreed on a 2-year, $88 million contract. Jones led the league in passing in the first 10 weeks last year, but his season ended in week 14 with an Achilles rupture. He's still rehabbing, and you saw the Colts season nosedive after he went out. And back here with Adam Schefter, the quarterback market turns its attention now to another former first-round pick in Kyler Murray. What's the latest after Murray was officially released today by the Cardinals?
Well, now that he's a free agent, he is free to sign with any other team. Let's keep in mind that the Arizona Cardinals will pay him $36.4 million this year, and he can go play where he wants for essentially the veteran minimum. One person told me there's a strong likelihood that Murray's going to wind up in Minnesota in the Vikings quarterback room with J.J. McCarthy. Another source said that he would be shocked if Murray did not wind up in Minnesota. So all signs point to Kyler Murray winding up with the Minnesota Vikings. We'll see if and when they can hammer out that agreement and get it done, but I would expect that to happen here in the coming day or two.
Another quarterback now on the market. Kirk Cousins also released by the Falcons today. Plenty of news coming in and out. Adam Schefter, thank you very much.
And Christine with you on SportsCenter, and we're following the Baltimore shuffle. Hours after backing out of the Max Crosby trade with the Raiders, the Ravens agreed to a deal with Trey Hendrickson. Adam Schefter reports he gets a 4-year, $112 million deal. Sources say Baltimore had medical issues after Crosby's physical. All right, two-time Super Bowl champ Booger McFarland is joining us now. So, Boog, how does the Ravens' decision to back out of the deal with Crosby and add Hendrickson impact their chances at a Super Bowl?
Well, it definitely increases those chances. I think if you looked at this Baltimore defense last year, like everyone knew they were looking for a pass rusher, which is why they traded 2 number 1s for Max Crosby. And when that deal fell through, Eric DeCosta did what he does best and just pivoted and moved on. And I think he got a player that's been looking to get on the market for a couple of years. We all knew that Cincinnati and Trey Hendrickson probably were going to head for a divorce, and they did. And now they get a guy who's been one of the more productive pass rushers in football. In his last 40 games, 39 sacks. 40 games, 39 sacks for Trey Hendrickson. So I think if you're Baltimore and you're in a situation now with Buffalo, with Kansas City, where it's Super Bowl or bust, I think you just added a key piece. Now, if they can get Nnamdi Madubuike back to go along that defensive line, you got Trey Hendrickson, you got Madubuike, you got a defensive line that can be really, really good in Baltimore.
Okay, let's go to the other side because Crosby, he's still a Raider for now. What is the best landing spot for the All-Pro edge?
Well, I think it's to stay right there in Las Vegas. I understand he probably doesn't want to be part of a rebuilding process with the likely number 1 pick, Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. But he's not healthy right now. And I think the reason he failed the physical was because he's only just started walking last week. And so I think if you're Max Crosby and you're the Las Vegas Raiders, I think the best thing to do right now is to keep Max there. You go, continue to rehab, get him healthy. And if you want to move him, say later in the summer, the way the Dallas Cowboys moved Micah Parsons to Green Bay, then you go ahead and move him. But right now, I think the best thing for him to do is continue to rehab, continue to get better. And then if you can show up this summer and show everybody, whether it's Instagram or wherever, that you're back healthy and back moving the way that we're used to seeing Max Crosby move, then if you want to trade him, you can trade him. But if I'm the Raiders, keep Max Crosby there. Like, he fits being a Raider. He's the Raider way. I hope he stays there in Las Vegas.
Yeah, not sure if he's happy about that. By the way, Hendrickson and Crosby are both top 5 in the NFL in pressures over the last 5 seasons. Crosby has more pressures and Hendrickson has more sacks. More of the book in just a little bit.
And Kevin, back with you. The Cardinals, they're going to continue without Kyler Murray at the start of the NFL league year at 4 Eastern today. Arizona releasing their quarterback after 7 seasons and 2 Pro Bowls. Murray becomes QB1 on the current open market, and 2-time Super Bowl champ Booger McFarland back with us. Booger, where do you believe Kyler Murray can have the most success in the league right now?
Well, it's got to be the Minnesota Vikings because I think a need and a fit are going to marry here, Kev. When you look at a need, Minnesota needs a quarterback because J.J. McCarthy just wasn't the answer last year. And I'm not sure if you're Kevin O'Connor, you can go into this season with J.J. McCarthy as your number 1. And you talk about the need and fit for Kyler Murray. He's looking for a new home. And the former number 1 overall pick, he's got a rocket arm. He can throw the football from the pocket. I think he's going to be healthy relatively soon. And the fact that you can add a dynamic athlete to that offense with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and maybe the best play caller in football in Kevin O'Connell, I think it's a fit. And on top of that, Kev, I'll add a little bit more to it. Think about the athletic ability when you have a guy, I call him the human road runner, that can run around in that pocket. Minnesota hadn't had anything like that in a long time. So really good passer, really dynamic athlete. Justin Jefferson has got to be praying right now. He's probably texting Kyler right now. Hey, buddy, it's not that cold up here. Come on, hang out with me.
We play in the dome. Don't worry. By the way, Kyler's release makes a streak of 7 straight quarterbacks drafted first overall that didn't get past age 30 with their own team. Boog's on our team. Appreciate you.
It's just in a SportsCenter. Adam Schefter reporting that the Cowboys are trading 2 defensive linemen. Osa O goes to the 49ers for a 2026 third-round pick. He signed a 4-year, $80 million extension a year ago. And Dallas moved Solomon Thomas and a 7th-rounder. They head to the Titans for another 7th-rounder. Remember, Dallas made an offer for Max Crosby.